Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Thank you for joining me today. This particular build is a kitchen knife. The original kitchen knife that this is a recreation of was a kit that was sold in the early 1900s to gentlemen. A lot of them used it as a field knife or side knife for working out in the field, or many of them used it for working in the kitchen. So that's what this build is. I'm taking you a little bit further back into the journey where I am actually cutting the metal out and putting in a rough shape on the metal. In this case, I am using D2 steel, which is an air hardening steel. So once you get it up to temperature, you just simply take it out and it will harden to the correct hardness by simply being in the air. I just gotta say, check out them manly legs. They're so chiseled. I got my gloves on because I realized I forgot to use them earlier, and metal gets hot when you cut it. Now we go to the 2x42 for general profiling of the shape, keeping it a 90 degree to the platen. In my upcoming videos, you're going to start seeing some new angles where you'll actually see overhead shots and so on. I got some new camera holders, some new tripods, mounting brackets, all sorts of cool new toys so that you can get better views of some of the things I'm doing here. I'm switching to the 1x30 so that I can put in the bevels correctly. The table or the work table on the 2x42 isn't as comfortable to me right now in being able to put in the bevels. So I'm going back to what I know works for me right now, which is the 1x30 with a much bigger working surface. I'm also using a new face shield, full face shield that allows me to protect my entire face without worry. It's also a anti-fog face shield. Honestly, I'm not sure about the blue tint and how I feel about it, so we'll see how it goes, and I'll keep using it and I'll let you know. We're going to set up the holes that I'm going to drill and their location, and also take care of that bevel line. Right here I'm using blue Dicam, which is a layout fluid that machinists use. And you'll never guess what I'm doing here. Yep, I'm drilling the 3/16 holes, and then I will drill the 1 centimeter hole for the mosaic pen. Yeah, drilling this larger hole got a little tricky. These scales that I'm flattening are Guatemalan rosewood. I've used them before for a knife that I made for someone as a gift, and they turned out really beautiful. So I'm sure that these will turn out just as amazing. Again, you see me using the pencil trick to see how well the job of flattening them goes, making sure that they're parallel. And now we bring the heat. See me moving the blade back and forth. What I'm doing is trying to make sure it's getting a relatively even heat across the entire length of the blade so that it will properly reach the critical temperature necessary. I realized I needed to take off the back shield to give it that little extra room so that I could move it around. Now with some of that decarburization removed, let's see how hard this knife got. This is on the Rockwell hardness scale. It's past 60, and the 65 is skating across. So we know it's at least 65 on the Rockwell hardness scale. So what I'm doing here is removing a lot of the scale that was left over from the heat treatment, making sure that it's all taking off, get the metal to a nice shiny silver. So you can see that on the one side I have it pretty well removed and it's looking a lot more like a knife now. And I'm going to try to do the bevels on this smaller table. Another upcoming video will be a review of how well I did with the smaller table, trying to put in the bevels or the final bevels for this knife. And here we're working on the scales, getting them drilled out. I already drilled out the 3/16 holes. I was showing my son how to do this for a knife that he's working on, and I didn't record it at that time. I'm working on the part of the scales that will be at the blade side of the knife, and you want to finish them first simply because it is extremely difficult to work on them when they're on the knife and glued up. So get them done as much as you can before you actually attach them to the knife itself. So in removing the tape, it tore a little bit. I'm trying to remove it. I don't necessarily have to re-flatten the scales. I just need to get that tape off the bottom. I'm cleaning with acetone here. And if you've watched my videos, you've noticed that I've missed a step of taping up the blade. I was in a rush to be ready for dinner so that I didn't have to stop in the middle of the glue up process, and I forgot. I'm using the squeeze clamp to make sure that the wood scales are right up against the handle of the knife so that they have a good fit. I'm also leaving much of the mosaic pin proud so that ultimately I can cut most of it off and use it for more knives. In the words of the Great Captain Barbossa, waste not. And of course here we're starting to shape the handle to, or the scales to the handle. On the belt sander, I took everything up to a 120 grit, and here I am using my knife clamp and going all the way up to 400 grit. I'm continually checking for the grip feel, for hot spots in my hand, and in general whether it's comfortable or not. Because this is a kitchen knife, I am using butcher block oil to seal the handle and make sure that it's well preserved. Using the usual paper test, because shaving my arms, I will eventually have absolutely no hair. Thank you for spending time with me. Please like, subscribe, and leave a comment about what you think. I look forward to it. See you next time.